All right, this is episode 2 of Creating Castles. We got Jason Ow. Is that exactly how it's pronounced?
Ow, just like you got punched.
Oh, ow. He is the man, the myth, the legend from Call Your Fam. He is a master behind the camera, and he is now a really good friend of mine and a very, very dope creative. So let's give a hands up to Jason.
Love that.
Fuck yeah.
I'm stoked to be here, dude.
But yeah, man, we just did a really cool project. Well, I'm pretty sure that project will at least be released when this is released. But yeah, we did a really cool project, and I don't know how to really explain it. I think we just brought a lot of creative visions to it, but you guys will hear this next track. It's with Lexi Shanley, part 2. I can't really explain it besides it's such a, I don't know how to, like, it's a very close, like, track to me and her, and the way we wrote it was so organic, just like the last one, but this one even more. You know, this next one coming out, I don't know, I was trying to overproduce it, and I kind of just went back to the roots, and I hit you up and I was like, hey, let's see if we can get this to the next level in terms of, taking that video, because I think video really tells the story after you write the track. And yesterday we did that shit.
Yeah, yesterday was sick. I feel like with projects like this too, it's crazy how that all starts from one text. You just hit me up and you're like, yo, I have this idea. I want to shoot this video for my new track. Yeah. And it's crazy how it starts at that, and then bringing someone like Pause onto the project, but really just coming from a place of passion, and us just being like, yo, let's make this idea everything it can be and go from just a potential creative project into something that we came away and we're like, wow.
Yeah, shout out Pause too. A lot of the things that you guys are going to be seeing in this video were all, we had this basis of, what we really wanted to do. And I think just all of us were like, boom, 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 let's get this done. And ideas were just being thrown and ideas were being executed. And I think it's so cool to really be in a room with only 4 people, and honestly, no one more. I think anyone more than that, it could be off, but executing a video, and you don't really see this because usually it's 4 people, maybe less, not in a studio with lighting, but like this is 4 people like executing with like, you know exactly what to do behind the camera with the lighting. Like, Pause like, okay, I'm trying to, kind of direct this thing exactly, and all of us are trying to too. And for me, I'm kind of like, all right, bro, I just kind of did the music. I understand, like, I kind of told you guys the basis, but like, I'm like kind of trying to put my hands up where I'm like, the track's playing, like, you guys just tell me where to go. And I think the basis of us talking, we were like, the rain room, which was kind of like the main thing, and kind of working around that and not really stressing about, when we were there, and kind of just I feel like since we just all kind of know what to do with these objects, like all these tools, I think we really executed really fast, and I'm really excited for everyone to see this vibe and see this see what's going on.
Yeah, that's honestly, it's crazy to think about. Like you said, 4 people in a room, and in a lot of these situations now with bigger videos, it's like, oh, we have 50 people on set, we have like this, that, and being able to come from such a pure place of just creativity with 4 people.
Yeah, I was talking with my friends. They're pretty big in the game. I'm not going to really name who they are, but they were telling me like their agency poured in, around $75K for one of their videos, and they got a lot of backlash for it. And they just didn't really love it. They liked it, but I only heard like briefly. But then they did this kind of DIY video like on the beach, and like I was just such a fan because I was like, this is just gorgeous. Like, it seems so you, and it seems just I don't know, I was just like, holy, this is when I watched it, I was like, yeah, and they were telling me how well that video did and how much they enjoyed doing that and how they took kind of more control on that end. And I was just like, it's kind of all about taking control. And I think after the pandemic, and I hate to usually talk about it, but after the pandemic, I think people really realized that you really don't need these huge, production teams or these big visual stuff to really put out good content. Like, I mean, if no one knows right now, we're set up at my house in Venice. Like, this isn't, we're not down here. I'm not renting out no studios. Like, this is just our furniture and just working it, and to anyone out there who's like trying to start some stuff and trying to do some stuff, I always just tell them, like, I don't know, just go for it and do it all in your own home. Like, you really never need to do anything. But yeah, kind of coming, how we first met. Let's get back into, you, where are you from, and your business and stuff. So let's start with, where are you from, and how'd you get to LA, and
so I've been thinking about that lately because I'm super grateful to be here and just be creating awesome stuff with people like you. Or I used to dream about this, and coming from San Diego, that was really the beginning of, I got a camera when I was 15, and it was like my birthday present. I was so stoked. I would just take pictures of the beach, take pictures of sunsets, and I was like, wow, this is insane, like just capturing everything and anything. Mm-hmm. And then fast forward, went to Chapman, met a lot of really cool people, got a lot of experience, and realized this is what I actually wanted to do. And I saw people I looked up to in LA just doing it and creating things, and like you said, just going for it, bringing their visions to life and not overthinking it, and just seeing how far they'd come from, a couple of years out of college.
How'd you like Chapman, by the way?
Chapman was sick.
It was nice.
It was sick. It was, I wouldn't be here without Chapman, honestly.
That's exactly how I feel with Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without Boulder.
Yeah, dude, the people.
It's the people, and college is such a, people, I always hear left and right, do this, you don't have to go to college, you do have to go to college. Like, there's definitely a thought of, you really don't, you do, but I think it's so much more of the social aspect of meeting people and mentally, waking up and having to say hi to people, having to go do something, I have to go to class, and you like, they just push you to get out of the box. And I don't know, I always thought that experience is, there's no way I would be the person I am today without that, social thing of what we call college, I guess. But it's not like, I mean, I see people in and out, it doesn't matter if you're from it or not, but personally, I love it. I loved it, and it is who I am today.
100%. I feel like I was also super introverted coming out. I mean, I'm still naturally introverted, but especially before college, I was not the one connecting with random people, like putting myself out there, trying new things. And that really showed me what was possible, got me out of that shell. And then, from there, it was moving up to LA with like $1,700 to my name. And I remember that being like the scariest moment of being like, damn, I can pay for the deposit, and here we are. I got to figure it out. I got to make it happen. And just starting to work gigs left and right, whether it was like shooting a quinceañera, shooting a random event, just crazy stuff that you have to do at the beginning. And then over the past 3 years, I can't even explain how amazing it's been to see what's unfolded, and just meeting people just like you, but working on a ton of stuff, building out that creative path, and starting to do photo and video for brands, artists, celebrities. And then that's really what led to having the ability to launch Call Your Fam, which is a part of the video that we just put together with Jeff and Taylor rapping Call Your Fam in the video. But that's this jewelry brand I started centered around mental health, and every piece is a reminder to check on the people you love. Shoot them a text, give them a call whenever you think about them. And going back into that, because I guess we're here now, so that's a huge part of what I'm doing today, and that started with losing.
Before we get, when I met you, you were just about to launch that, right?
You were about to,
because I remember you were like, I think you like, we were talking about it about like your Instagram or something, and you're like, I'm about to launch something. And that was like almost 2 years ago. A year and a half ago.
Probably less than a year and a half now,
Yeah, a year and a half, because I met you, I think, before I started dating my girlfriend, so I'm trying to like, we met at that Lo Siento event.
Shout out Lo Siento.
Shout out Lo Siento. But yeah, that's crazy. That was a great event, by the way.
Great event.
But let's step back and kind of understand, when I met you, how did that, it seemed like you were probably already ready to go. Did you have the name when I met you? And I was with, you were with two of your friends?
Yeah. So I think at that point, I had the Instagram, we had samples, we had everything. Like, it was like so close. But again, to our conversation about this setup, about the video, about everything we're doing, it's like, I was at that point where I was so ready, but I kept telling myself like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to like, I need to think about this. And honestly, the big thing that pushed me was the idea of the brand came from losing one of my friends who took their own life. And that was when we had just gotten to college, so it was a really pivotal moment, and just so tragic to see that community feel the loss of someone that we loved. And then from there, about a year and a half later, losing another one of our friends who was actually his best friend, and from there losing the first friend's older brother about 2 years ago now. And that was the final push of being like, I always wanted to do something. We always talked about it. We were like, man, if we had something that could save those lives, that could like remind people to check on their friends and check on their family. And then at this point, I had been putting in the work. We were just working on samples, getting the website together, everything. And then we met, and within 3 or 4 months after that, it was just pressing publish on the website. And it's been unreal to see. This past year, we just came up on a year of Call Your Fam.
It's been insane to see, and we have conversations on the phone, but I mean, as we're talking right now, a lot of these conversations are fresh and new, like a lot of things we haven't talked about. But yeah, like, when was that day, was it after college when you're like, I'm gonna start a brand, I'm gonna, spend a part of my, my full time and part of my life, because I always think of time as these are big chapters in your life of Call Your Fam and being a part of that, because it must have been, I wouldn't say everyone has, someone who's died, especially from or passed away from something of mental illness. I know some people who've, have passed away from other things, incidents, but it takes something really tragic to make you think that, you're gonna take the leap of faith and you're gonna be the leader in fixing or helping to fix that. Because I would think 99% of people would, understand that, be very sad, and kind of swipe that under the, the rug, and that's how the way they deal with it, and that could be their way of dealing with it. But you really took that leap of faith, and you were like, I'm gonna be the leader, I'm gonna be the person to shout this out, and I'm not gonna care what anyone thinks. And I think that's something huge that I see from you, of just that leader who's just like, because everyone's scared to sometimes hop on, video. And I've even talked to you, like, as I'm starting this music band, even right this minute, I'm not the one to, hop on video. And you kind of said it was the same thing, but there's a higher power of energy telling you, it's not about me. It's who cares what people think of me? That's it. It's so much bigger than that. But you're saying it's, right after college that you were like, this is it, or just right after that third passing?
Yeah, so I think, going back to what we're talking about right now, it's like, it's not about you. And up until that point, I had been thinking about it, even with all the creative stuff. It's like, oh, I shot this person, I shot for this brand. You get your ego so involved in what you're doing, and going through those life experiences of losing people you love. And I can't really explain the impact that's had on me mentally, of like how I want to go about my life and the things that I want to prioritize. Like you said, like starting a brand where you're like, I want to spend years of my life trying to create an impact and trying to help people. And it's like when you have something that so many people are thinking about taking their lives, so many people are going through it, and you have people's father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, best friend, everyone has that person in their life who might not be doing so hot right now. And really seeing where the brand has gone. And like you said, it's been crazy putting myself out there, getting on the camera, talking to my phone, because I was never the person to do that. But at the end of the day, we have these pop-ups, and that's been a huge part of the brand, of being in LA, being in New York. And I have people come up to me and just open up and get so vulnerable and tell me about their experience with mental health and someone they've lost in their life, and how much this means to them. And how they
that
feel
was
like
going to be another question too, of with, you know, stepping into the mindset of mental health and saying, you know, you're almost like a person that they can come to. I'm sure some big stories have came your way through DMs or whatever it is, and yeah, you've really had to help them. I mean, there's probably been some massive stories that you've had to take in and just understand and be there for them. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a crazy part that I thought I was more ready for. I was talking to one of my friends recently, and that came up, and it's like, you think you're ready, you know, after the experiences I've had and the conversations I had before we launched. I was like, oh, I can do this, you know, I can talk to people. I think I have experience that helps me understand. And you realize, like, everyone is going through it in their own way. They have their own experiences, and when people are in a really dark place, I don't think there's a right way. There's not, you know, there's no formula. There's no conversation that you can just have prepared. It's really just genuinely being for them in a way that you're there, you're listening, and you're just supporting them. Because, you know, trying to give advice, trying to tell someone how they should or shouldn't feel is not going to help. But those people are just in a place where all they need is to know that they're never alone, and that you're there for them, and that you care. And that's been a huge journey, navigating, like you said, people send DMs, people reach out, and sometimes people do reach out when they're in crisis. And that's why it's amazing that there's so many resources out there now with professionals that, you know, 24/7, 365, you can call.
And have you ever had to hop on a plane or something and being like, I'm there for you or something? Because you're almost putting yourself out as that call, you know, like, because you are, you know, maybe if I didn't want to do, if that ever happened, whatever stuff that ever happened, maybe I'd want to, you know, as you're such a good person and so there on the Instagram versus, you know, calling someone. And I've never, you know, just from being a person, you know, you're trying to call someone, you don't know who's on the other side, and so you don't know if it's going to be like, you know, there's going to be someone answering, but it's almost easier to just talk to you. So it's like, if I knew you were, you know, online, I'd maybe even DM you faster than I'd call the line. So yeah, you're in that position, and you're there. You're in it. It's crazy. And you're up late too. You're rocking late hours. Like I always like, I'm rocking late hours and stuff on music stuff, and you're rocking the same hours, bro.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy, because at the end of the day, it just goes back to why you're doing what you're doing. You know, you with music, you're up late, you're putting in the reps, and in the same way, it wouldn't be genuine of me to start a brand like Call Your Fam and not be ready to just try to take those situations on and try to help people to the best of my ability. Because at the end of the day, that's a perfect example of, like, I started this brand a year ago, And to think that I have people reaching out to me that I don't know, that I've never met in my lifetime, and they feel comfortable to send us a DM. They feel like you're creating a space for them to reach out and open up. I think, you know, if anything, it can be stressful, but at the same time, it's an amazing opportunity to be there for people and to just, yeah, like you said, be that person, be that platform. And ultimately, we want to create a community where there's so much more than just, you know, DMing us on Instagram. There's an actual community of people who can support each other, that are all going through their own situations, and really just be there for each other to remind everyone that, like, it's normal, and just help each other through those situations.
Yeah, it's funny because now that mental health is such a big, you know, it's a big thing now, and I don't think it really wasn't years ago. If anything, not at all. And so it's funny because, especially in the creative space, to anyone out there who's in the creative space and not really have that like 9-to-5 job of, you know, security, and then you just, you know, sometimes you kind of have a bad week and it's just like you feel down or, you know, whatever it is. And I think even for me, it's like just that it's talked about in the world. Like if I have a down day, and mentally, now that it's just so talked about, I mentally can now feel almost like there's a kind of a cushion.
Yeah.
And it feels good. And I think it's weird because, yeah, I mean, like 10 years ago, and it was never different. And it really wasn't, because when I think back, and I kind of was just like, oh, I just was like thinking of it as a death or something. But yeah, now that it's just so known more, it's always been like that. And I'm actually very thankful because, you know, days that I get down, it's nice to know that you do have that cushion, that there's just like options out there. So you kind of just take that second breath, and you're, you know, you're feeling a little better. And definitely you're making that second breath a lot better for a lot of people. And I think it's amazing. I do want to ask, what was your thoughts on, did you always want to do, you know, jewelry pieces? And I personally I always say I grew up from a younger age doing like a lot of the rave culture. So I was doing like love, peace, unity, respect type stuff. And going into those raves at a young age, and even taking ecstasy with a lot of my friends, I was surrounded by so many different types of people, like just every type of person you can think, like the craziest of crazy, of like, you know, 6 people loving each other, like it all, whatever, everything is the craziest. But I was just on the state that everyone was there, and everyone, like, you know, a lot of my favorite artists, especially from back in the day, and everyone was just like having this great time to this beautiful, euphoric stage that so many people spent so much time to put together, and so many synchronized lights going on, and a lot of people knew that. And I just kind of like, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful thing. But did the bracelets and all that come from that? Because when you told me yesterday with the bracelets, I was like, that's like, when I think of like helping someone, like it is the bracelet. So was there any other things you were thinking about before, or like right when you thought about the brand, or was it always going to be jewelry?
Yeah, no, so to touch on that point super quick, it's funny because a lot of people, because we're in this creative space, and so many people that we're surrounded by have had a really positive experience with music, raves, everything like that. They always ask, they're like, oh, this used to be a part of, you know, the community I was in, and we would give bracelets, we would pass them around, and they loved that. And that wasn't specifically where any of this came from, but I think it was really cool because that showed the proof of concept already. You know, people have been doing that, people have been spreading love and just like being in those amazing moments, like with these objects that remind them of their favorite people and the people they love. And with the question of, was it always jewelry? I think I came to LA, and that was another part of my experience growing in LA, is I used to be in that whole toxic masculinity culture of, you know, when I was younger, like I would never wear jewelry. I wouldn't think to wear a necklace, bracelets, rings. And coming into LA, it made me feel so much more comfortable being myself and expressing myself. And as you know, with Kaiser Clark.
It's so funny coming from Colorado too. It's like, dude, like we had jewelry, but like you're not wearing anything super crazy. Yeah. And there's times where I know I wanted to, but like you'd be in a bar, all the boys would be like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's just like, I'd rather just like post out, kick it. You know, I don't need to go too out, but. Yeah, coming to LA, it's crazy. You just do whatever, you know.
Yeah, so LA created the opportunity for me to express myself more like that. I'm sure the same way with you, but I started wearing jewelry and I realized like I was just in bed one night, like how we talk about, we're up till like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm just laying there thinking about life and Call Your Fam. And I was like, holy shit, I could just make jewelry and brand it with the reminders to check on the people you love, and that's something that like you have on your wrist that you see every time you look down, like you put on your neck, like in the morning you put that on in the mirror, you take it off at night, and every time you have that touch point you remember that this is a Call Your Fam piece, and it gives you that like quick reminder to check on someone. And to the bracelets, yeah, super similar to what you had talked about, of these are called buddy beads, and it's literally like you wear a stack, and when someone's having a tough day, could be a stranger, could be your best friend, could be your mom, you just pass them a bracelet. And the amount of times I've gotten messages of people being like, yo, I passed this bracelet on and it made my friend's day, or I sent them this bracelet in the mail and they just sent me this message, they were so stoked, and they told me like how much it meant to them, and it means the world to see that happening.
It's amazing. That really, you gave me some buddy beads yesterday, and it did remind me back of the day, and I'm really stoked on them, dude. And I'm very thankful for that as well.
Of course, dude.
I did want to also talk about, and I think I've told you this. Are you from Hawaii?
No, so my dad.
Your dad's from Hawaii. Yeah. I mean, you're Hawaiian though.
Not blood, but
you look Hawaiian.
I spent a lot of time there.
So what ethnicity are you?
I'm half white, quarter Japanese, quarter Chinese.
All right, so it's the Japanese.
Yeah.
All right, because I was wondering, because I also saw you were in Hawaii doing a Call Your Fam shoot.
Yeah.
Also, every one of your friends I've ever met are so cool. Like literally the dopest, and everyone stands by each other, and I think it's kind of rare to see friend groups like that and that really stick with each other. And shout out Jason's friends.
Shout out my friends. Shout out the
they seem like they're really, they're just really you guys are a big family, and I respect that a lot, and I don't see that too much. And and even when I sent you that video, you were bouncing it back to some of your friends that I've met before, and I think that's really cool. But tell me how the Hawaii. What were you doing over in Hawaii? That was sick.
So in Hawaii, and I mean, I gotta touch on the friends thing because you just brought that up.
Yeah.
And last night after we shot the music video, crazy because I won't name names, but I was laying in bed. It's like 3 a.m. I'd posted a story.
You posted a story. I was like, I woke up. I was like, oh my god. I was like 3:37. I was like, I literally was so fast.
Yeah, dude.
I was passed out.
No, but I posted a story and it looks super sick because Jeff found this insane studio and the lights are strobing, and I was like, wow, this looks cool. I'm gonna post it. And one of my friends at like 4 a.m. sends me a message, and it's just a paragraph of like how proud they are of me, and just like such a fucking beautiful message, like almost brought tears to my eyes because I'm like, I literally don't deserve that. Like it's crazy to feel that support from people who have come into our lives over the years. And to your point, like just like that example of that message, but every single day I wake up now and I can't believe like the things that are happening, and I genuinely know none of this would be possible without the homies, without those people. Like
that's it.
It's literally like those people who are in our lives that are so supportive, that like come on, like we help each other, but in the same way of just like with work, and especially outside of work, like when you're having a tough day, like you said, just being able to have that person and having this community of friends that from the day we launched Call Your Fam, like it's crazy that every single time I want to do something, there are people that are more than down right away because we have such a close relationship outside of all the work stuff. And like Pause being there yesterday, super grateful to have people that, again, I genuinely know to my core, none of this would be happening without all of those people. And back to your question about Hawaii, I stayed with my friend Lisi. Shout out Lisi. But
she's the one who, she's the one I met. It was you, her, and Natasha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jeff met my friend Lisi, but she moved to Hawaii. Super stoked for her. She's on an amazing wave right now. Just like
shout out Lisi, the homie.
Yeah, the homie.
You're a really good person.
But she's in Hawaii, and to her being a great person, she let me crash at her place for 2 weeks.
Fuck yeah.
Which, unbelievable. Again, none of this is possible without the homies.
Yeah.
So we're out there, and my best friend John is also out there, and I'm like, let's shoot the next Call Your Fam campaign.
John's the one I met too, right?
You met John.
Did he? I thought he was your roommate.
Yeah, he's my roommate.
And now he's out there though.
No. He was
went
just
out
at the
there.
same time. Yeah. I was like, yo, you need to fly to Oahu.
Wait, he was on a different island.
Yeah, he was on Maui, and I was like, you need to fly to Oahu after that trip, and we'll have this week of being out there. And within that week, the amount of things we did together from outside of work, but again, to that Call Your Fam campaign, like the favorite, not that we've shot a million things, but that campaign in Hawaii with John and Lisi, again, just the three of us, no one else. And people see those pictures, people see those videos, and they're like, yo, that's insane. Like, that looks so crazy. Who shot that? Whatever it is. And again, just the reminder of like, you don't need a ton of people to create really cool stuff. You just need to do it. And you just need to, if something sounds crazy, it's probably not that crazy. You just like,
and it's sick because it's kind of off her land, you know? It's like you're just doing it off the land. But what started that? Like, I'm coming to, like, I'm going to go to, Hawaii and I'm going to film this. Like, because, and kind of stepping back again, everyone as a creative goes through ups and downs of, you're in bed, you're chilling, you're kind of like just going through a groggy week, whatever. And like, especially this week, this weekend, I was like, well, I haven't really felt like I'm kind of like doing as much as I can. And then boom, I was like executing. And then I was like, all right, what's your thoughts? Well, we're like, haven't even done the video. I was like, all right, podcast tomorrow. Let's do it. And you're like, let's just do it, bro. Yeah, and then you text me this morning, like, let's do a podcast, ? Like shit like that. And I'm like, we're both executing, let's just go. Let's go and let's just do it. And, but yeah, what was that like mindset of like, all right, I'm going to Hawaii and I'm executing, you're going to, like, if you're, the way I think of you is like, if you're thinking about it, you're going to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's a testament to all of this. Again, like to you, to what we created last night and campaigns like the one we shot in Hawaii. It's like, you have an idea and everyone has ideas. Like everyone wants to do something and people will talk about it. People will want to do something. But the only thing that lies between your ideas and creating something amazing is just execution. Like you said, just doing it, just pressing send. And whether it's buying that plane ticket and asking your friend to crash on their couch and just getting out there at the same time, having my best friend come out, like it's not that crazy, but you just have to be able to get past that initial idea.
It's exactly that. It's so weird how you say that. And I think not bagging on anyone, but from what I see in the creative world and so many people who give me ideas who are sometimes way better ideas than I have, their execution is just, it's not executed and it's so easy to execute. And I think that's one thing that I see a lot of people not doing. And it's so many great ideas out there. And lately what I've been doing, and I don't always stick on schedule, but I think I told you, I was like, when I think of an idea, the goal is to just execute it in the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if it's not executed in the 2 weeks, it's getting farther away. And another thing I've kind of learned is a lot of people also think of favors. They're like, I don't know, I don't want to ask this favor right now, or I don't want to ask this favor then. like favors are meant to be asked.
Favors are meant to be asked.
Favors are meant to be asked because you don't know what comes out of those favors. You know, like you just never know. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, whatever. But I promise you 99%, if you don't ask for that favor when you're thinking about asking for that favor is gone and sailed. Like usually it's not going to happen, or usually maybe, you know, you get, whatever happens, you get in relationships, you don't talk to whoever that person is that maybe had that connection, or they don't have that connection, they don't work at that agency, or they don't do that anymore. A year later, so much things change. So if things are happening and you think that favor can even 50% possibly happen, like I would say go for it. And and people are, I don't know, people lately, I think people are nicer than you think. And people are nicer than you think.
People are good.
Even like LA, like from back in the day, people always gave this thing, but everyone's like low key fucking nice.
Dude, it's crazy because to your point, everything you're talking about right now, I think asking, like people don't want to ask. People don't, in the same way of like executing, it's uncomfortable sometimes to ask people for things. But when you think about the video we shot last night, and people will be able to see it when they listen to this too, but it's crazy that you can create something like that. And that started from you just asking me, just sending me your idea. And people ask so many things in a way where it can come off disingenuine if it's, you know, you're reaching out to someone who's, not to put people on levels, but maybe someone's a little bit ahead of you and you have no connection to them. You can't just reach out and just ask and just take from them. But to, like we said, we met at this event, not related to work, not related to anything, and just became friends. And here we are, we shot this video over a year later.
Yeah,
so it's like
over a year and a half.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you can't just ask people in this way where you're taking from them. But I agree that the way that we've done things in LA and the reason we're here right now is we become friends with people not asking for anything. Like, we don't become friends with people to get things.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, this person's super cool. That's a good person. Let's stay connected. Like, let's chop it up. Let's get coffee, whatever it is. And then, like I said, here we are a year later. And you're like, oh, I have this idea. I'm going to ask for that. So I think that's a huge part of people. People look at LA and they think like everyone's just grabbing and taking. But there's this really cool community of people who are just all friends and friends of friends. And there's this whole network where you come into people's lives in a genuine way. And you just end up creating really cool things together.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say here, but when I see people coming just like fresh into LA or kind of having that like kind of iffy of how do I meet people, what's your take on, you know, whatever creative space or trying to meet friends like that? Like, you know, people always, it's such a double-edged sword because, you know, there's those phases I'll go in where like, low key, like even at the Lo Siento party, like we're partying, we're taking shots, kind of like we're drinking. But then I'll have like right now, I haven't gone out really in months. Like
Same.
Maybe I have, but like not really. Like I'll go out if someone invited me to an event or a space where someone is celebrating someone else in terms of, hey, my friend's playing, or, you know, one of my friends are playing a show. It's their first show on, you know, a bigger stage, or this is an event that a brand of my friend owns or whatever, like even like Lo Siento or something like that. And we're shouting them out a lot here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just went out because all of the boys wanted to go out and it was summer and I was just like, what am I doing here? I don't know, like literally where to step. Like I'm like sitting like just chilling with a drink and I'm like, where do I even step right now? Like I don't even know what's my agenda for this. Like, I mean, I have my girlfriend, like, I mean, she's having a good time and it's cool. We have some friends there, but like, it's so rowdy, loud. I don't know. There's like, it's just a lot of shit going on. And I don't know. It's just there's like, I don't know. But long story short, I like realize some of those times where I'm just chilling, whatever, I meet some great people. But then I go into this phase where I'm like, wait, I hate drinking. Why do I want to do that? Like, whatever. What's your take on, you know, meeting people, yet maybe even like because like I said, everyone goes through those phases, but you know, a lot of these people I have met were going out to party.
Yeah,
and what is your take on trying to meet people and phases? And I don't know.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
That's a big thing. I've been talking to friends about that because, like you said, you go through a phase, and like this summer and when we met, I mean, we're out all the time. Mm-hmm. We saw each other. We'd run into each other because we were like all over Venice, all over Santa Monica, and you do meet a lot of cool people like that. And you also meet a lot of people that, you know, maybe they don't stay in your life and it's just a quick encounter. But I will say that the phases of partying and going out and all that, like sometimes you need that to realize that you need to get back to something else. And sometimes you get that perspective of, I need to slow down for a second, and I need to remember why I'm doing this and be a little bit more intentional, because I love to have a good time. Everyone loves to have a good time. But at the same time, when I think about connecting with people, I think there's some instances with a person like you where I'm like, yo, Jeff's the man. Like, I'm super glad that we just happened to meet at this Lo Siento event. And then I think about it from a deeper level, and I'm a huge proponent of sliding DMs. And like, you see someone you look up to, you see someone who is doing something really cool and just like catches your eye, and you're like, yo, I love what they're doing. I think like they just stand out, and that's a person I want in my life. I just reach out and I tell them that I love what they're doing, and like ask if they want to meet for coffee, ask if they want to hop on a call if they're not in LA. And to your point of people being good, more often than not, like people respond to me, and people, and I can't even explain in the past 3 years the amount of people that have come into my life from an Instagram DM.
Yeah, Instagram is it's crazy, dude. Everything's on Instagram. But yeah, I always have that question, and even to this day, like even last week, I was like, we had a boys' night. We were cooking up some Montana steaks, and I was like, wow, let's fucking go to Ram Blanca, like Thursday night, whatever. Let's have some fun. Mm-hmm. The boys were like, nah, I'm too tired. I was like, oh fuck, I should probably just chill. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of amazing times have been, you know, I don't know, kicking it with just people. But I always say, on my take on it lately of how I feel, is go out to things you like. Like if you like this band or you like this DJ, go support them and go listen. And you don't need all this drugs, whatever. Like, you know, it's kind of my take on it is like, if you're like vibing and you want, you know, whatever little feeling, like just grab a beer or grab a seltzer. Just don't do like, I won't do the hard alcohol. I just won't do a long time, like in terms of just like hard alcohol. It just will take me to not like bad, but I just we're like I'm gonna hurt the next day. If I take one shot, I'm gonna hurt the next day. But if I have like a light beer, no IPAs to me, just like just whatever light beer, Corona, beautiful. I'm chilling, and I'm also really chilling with weed too. I really like that shit, but that's not for everyone. I always tell people, are like, yo, how the hell do you smoke and like go out like and do it? And I'm like, I've trained for it. I've really trained for it. And that's what you have to smoke weed in the circumstances that you know you should not smoke weed. I've figured it out, and that's how you start training. And just kind of have a fun time, just start laughing. But kind of my take on it has been, go to your favorite things, and also another thing, same kind of thing. People who move to Los Angeles or wherever it is, nothing to do with like specific of arts or anything, whoever it is, and they're trying to meet someone. I hear that so much. They're like, hey Jeff, I'm just trying to meet, like I just got here, just got to LA, would love to, I just don't even know where to start. And I think my mindset on that was, do something you like. Like if you like running, you like yoga, like do something you like that you like legit like. Don't just go to the Orange Theory. Like there is yoga on the beach in Venice. Like there is yogas with goats. Like there's so many different little yoga things in the park. Yoga this, yoga that, whatever it is. Workout this, workout that. Bike, there's Venice Run Club. And Eddie, my roommate, does Venice Run Club, and there's like 100 amazing people on that I've seen running, and I'm like, I mean, I'm not the biggest runner, but this is legit. Like, if I was running, I would be with that club. Like, I'm there. But yeah, I don't know. What's your thoughts for someone minus anything artistic, like coming into a new city, doesn't have to be Los Angeles, that you would give your advice to of, I'm just trying to meet some people?
Yeah, I am totally on the same page as you. I think it's crazy to hear people who reach out to me, and they're like, I want to meet this person, or even if they want to work with you, but you've never met them, you don't know who they are, maybe. It's a thing where I think people can really feel right away, like, what your intention is. And if you come to LA and you're just like, I want to meet this person, and your goal is to just be in the same room as them, and you come up to them and you're just like, hey, I'm just a huge fan, that won't turn into anything. But like you said, that's where being passionate about something comes in, because when you do the things you're passionate about, people also feel that, and people see you making music. People have seen what I've been doing, and the amount of people that probably for both of us will literally reach out and be like, yo, like, I love what you're doing, because they see us coming from this place of passion. I think if you want to make friends and you want to find people that can create that community for you, like we said, could be 5 people, could be 10 people, could just be that core group of homies, that comes from doing things that you love and finding other people who love similar things or just on that same vibe. And I think people mistake specific passions having to be like, oh, you have to all love yoga, you all have to love running. I think that's a good way to meet people, but at the end of the day, it's really cool how you love music, I love photography and videography, and we have homies who love surfing, love skating, love running. And it doesn't have to be one thing. It's just finding that community of people who, when you are really passionate about something from a deep place, other people respect that, and you just get along.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's a thing I get from family members, from anyone. Just, even if I'm like randomly eating some food, I hear that a lot. Or I'm hearing, someone's next to me at a bar or whatever, they're sitting right next to you, and I always like to sit at the bar because it's the fastest service. Always the fastest. But I always see some people and they're like, hey, just trying to meet people. Do you have any thoughts? And that's always my thought. I was like, just do whatever you like, kind of from a broad perspective, and kind of like dig in and search for it. But there's just a lot to search for here in LA. And I keep saying, I fucking love this place. And
I love it.
A lot of people don't love it or whatever. It's not the prettiest place. It's gorgeous, but there's definitely prettier places in terms of just like the craziness that goes on here. But there's a lot of beautiful things at the end of the day.
100%.
I did want to, and we're just getting into everything, and this is kind of stepping back into the business as a creative, and this is for a lot of people, and I still think about this every day. What is your thoughts as being creative and trying a brand that, isn't the way, the corporate or the way of fast money, with your family? When I started music, there was a big gap of, my mom was always on board. She was always just happy for me. I think my dad wasn't as much on board. I think no matter what I did, as crazy as it was, like, if I wasn't getting, the money or whatever it was, maybe they wouldn't be on board. Or maybe it was like, I don't know, just like, even like, this is not now, now is a great time, but right when everything kind of first started with music, even back in college, it was, my parents were also, younger and maybe even hanging out with other parents, whatever, but and like talking and chatting, and that always happens with like, oh, my friend just graduated from, or my kid just graduated from Chapman. Now he's at the head of Wells Fargo, or head corporate Wells Fargo in San Fran, or doing some big thing. And that kind of takes a weird toll on the parents, and the parents kind of just like start digging in at the kid who's just trying to make it in some artsy form. Minus things that have happened with you and with your friends, and what has been your your thoughts on your parents thinking about, you know, you going after a business that isn't at all or necessary. You know, it's a risk, and as we're having time's ticking, and on top of that, what would you tell others who are trying to decide, well, I just maybe went to school, or maybe I didn't go to school, and maybe my parents are really, really like tearing me down to do, you know, to get this job, but I really don't want to do it, and I really maybe want to start something.
Yeah, no, that's a great point to bring up, because I think it really is a crazy situation for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people come from a place where they do have a ton of pressure from their parents to be quote unquote successful, and success is a big word right now, where the definition has been changing a lot. I've seen people start to approach it from a much healthier way and being much more open, but a lot of people put a label on that. Like you said, someone else's son is working at Wells Fargo, working at JP Morgan, and that sounds really good to a certain type of parent from a generation, and
to most parents,
yeah. And our generation is kind of the first. We're in the first generation to do a lot of this social media based creative stuff, and I will say that my parents have been an amazing support system for me. Like, I can't say that there's been a time that they've told me to switch my path or not to do something, and that's something.
Shout out.
Yeah,
Jason's
shout out my parents. Shout out my parents. So I've been extremely lucky to have parents who support me, and they bought me my first camera, like I said, for that birthday present, and ever since then, like they gave me that tool to start to go down a path of creating money from creative journeys and working with people on creative projects. And to anyone out there who has parents who aren't supportive of their passion or what they want to do, I won't act like I have experienced that, or, you know, I know all the ins and outs, but I do want to say that I have friends who have come from that place and have created amazing things, like unbelievable. And at the end of the day, once you hit a certain age and you know what you want to do, it's not your parents' choice what you do with your life anymore, and that's not in a disrespectful way. But if you genuinely believe in what you're doing and you feel called, you feel pulled, you feel like you wake up every morning and you go to bed at night and you can't stop thinking about that thing, don't let that just go away, because at the end of the day, with all the stuff we talk about, mental health, everything, like, it could take a toll on you to do that thing you're not passionate about, and you'll burn out. And even more so than that, like, bro, we have one life. We have one life.
It's crazy too. So many friends right now think like that. Like, I don't know if this is what I want to do. I'm like, dude, you're making like a lot of money. It's like, you're killing it. And like, they're just like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's what I want to do. And it's so weird, because it's like, those numbers aren't coming in, you know, like for us or something, but there's not a day where I'm like, this isn't what I not want to do. Like, I'm like, wake up every morning and I'm like, I don't double think. This is it. You know, this is it. Like, just like, even like coming back yesterday, like, this is it. This is like, I woke up today so stoked, because I'm like, I don't know, I created something, and that's going to be on this world forever. And it's beautiful. And but that's just my personal thought on it. Like, it doesn't have to be like, I talked to my dad, and my dad, you know, worked in the World Trade Center, was always into money, and from the early ages, he's like, all I ever cared about was making cash, and just that's it, and having a family. I didn't care about, and he loved the Grateful Dead. He's never once wanted to be up on stage. He's never once wanted to do anything in the light of people looking at him. And because I was always wondering, I was like, Dad, why wouldn't you want to like kind of see some crazy parts of state, whatever. And I've brought him and shown him what it's like, especially with my old music project, what it's like to have like a couple thousand people in front of you. And he was so happy for me, but it wasn't something for him. And then I kind of realized, I was like, it's what I want isn't what everyone else wants. It's that in itself is cool. But my dad taught, and I'm talking about him, and he is 65, so it's a lot older, but I do believe him when he said, even at my age, he's like, when I worked and wanted what I wanted, like that was it, and I had never cared about anything else, and I do respect that. But now when I'm still out, like I do hear a lot more than less of I don't know if this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I think it's crazy how you brought up the homies that are making, it's insane, multiple six figures.
Yeah,
at our age,
shit.
It's like, bro,
I'm like, bro, this is insane.
Like you're making more money than your parents have ever made.
Yeah,
and you're 25, and to have them come from that same place of in my life too, they're like, dude, I just don't think this is it. I'm so tired of doing this. Like it just doesn't, I'm not happy to be here. And I think about it, and money is really prioritized in America, and especially in LA, New York, all these cities. And at the end of the day, like money comes, money goes, and obviously we're in a very fortunate place in life to be able to like do this and to make enough money off of the things that we've done outside of having to take a corporate job. But I will say, like, dude, whether you make, $60K a year or $400K a year, like, are you happy with what you're doing? Are you passionate about what you're doing? Because I know a lot of people making $60K a year and they do what they love, and man, like they're happier than me. They live this like beautiful life. And I also know people making multiple six figures, and they're so stressed and they're so like uncertain of what they're doing and don't feel fulfilled. So that's another point of just like money is not everything. And I think in the long term, we both look at things this way. We've talked about it. Like, don't look at how much money you make this year. Don't determine things off like, what's my salary this year? It's like, what can you create in the next 5 years, 10 years even? And if you see potential in that and you genuinely believe in your path, go for it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I do want to ask you too, because obviously we've talked a lot about the stuff that we've done in the past, but right now I know you had your journey of you were making music for a long time, and then you took a break for a little, and you've been grinding Kaiser Clark, and you guys have been creating awesome stuff. But what has the journey been for you from the perspective of getting back to this place of, I see it in you, like I see it like last night, like you're just like, you're so tapped in right now to just being extremely passionate about what you're creating with your music and this new track and everything, and just seeing how hard you're going. Like, what did it take to get back to this place of being fully passionate and locked in? To
get to that mindset, it's years of 3-4 years of sitting, of understanding what I'm good at, what I'm not, and maybe realizing I'm not really that good at much, but I'm just gonna do what was on my mind. But it's definitely took me years. So anyone who's out there too, who's thinking like, oh, what do I do with this, this music project, whatever, like the right time will come. It's not like you have to do this right away, right now. And it really is just when you're feeling right to do it. But everything about yesterday was out of my comfort zone. Every single thing about yesterday was out of my comfort zone. And maybe it was for you too, because, I mean, you're just, walking up, and we're all walking up, and we know what's going on, but you had no clue I had all those lights. You don't know if I had a fog machine. You don't know what's going on. You just know how to handle that camera. And you know that you trust in your, in pause, and you trust in yourself. And I think I just knew, I was like, all right, I trust in you, I trust in myself, and whatever happens here happens. But trust your friends, trust everyone, and build teams. And yeah, empires are not built without teams, you know.
Yeah, no, and I want to say to that, I mean, your whole story, you just went in, and a huge part of what you just said, having that clip at 3:30 in the morning, valeting, like that just stuck with me, because when you're in that spot, and again, like you said, with music, with video, photo, whatever you're doing with a passion, like, you're not going to be good at first. And most people cannot. People think that you can just come up and like move to LA and just be successful. You're like, oh, I'm just doing, like, it does not work like that. And so many of the people that I fuck with that are in my life right now that inspire me, like you, have that 3:30 a.m. story. Like, have that moment that they will always remember, that is like, once you feel that, like, once you're in that place and you're so uncomfortable and you're just like, you're almost at rock bottom, the gratitude that you'll have going from there is just, you can't explain it. Like you said, to be able to make music, to be able to like work on these projects like last night, like, people look at that shit, like your story about Mark cleaning up sand. Everyone from the outside who has that different lifestyle is like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like, that sounds horrible. And yeah, I just want to say that it might look like that from the outside in those specific moments, but the feeling of creating things with your friends and like working on those things with, again, like you, Pause, and like we talked about, my whole squad of people in my life who I wouldn't be here without. You can't explain how good it feels to make things with super talented people that just are on that same wave of being passionate and wanting to create, because like, that's it.
That's it, bro. Well, bro, it's been about an hour.
Yeah.
I think it's been maybe a little bit of over, but anything specific that you want to tell everyone about Call Your Fam? Any drops got coming? Anything you got going? Let us know.
Yeah, so I'm not one who's big on plugging things, and like, if you want to check out Call Your Fam, it's just
check out Call Your Fam, baby,
on Instagram.
That's more than just you. That's more.
Yeah,
that's bigger than most, you know.
And that's all I want to say too is, if you're going through a good time right now, if you're on a high, then really appreciate that, and remember to be grateful for all those people in your life, all the people who got you to where you are today, because right now I've been feeling that. I've been waking up every morning and I'm like, I am so grateful for the people who are in my life to just be here today. I would not be here without them. And if you're not in that place, if you're in a low and you're struggling, just remember, like, you're literally never alone. Like, you always have someone you can reach out to. You can always find help, and it's really never too late. So yeah, based on everything with Call Your Fam, I just want to say, like, if you're on a high, if you're on a low, like, just try to appreciate where you are, take it a day at a time, and just do the things you love.
And how can everyone reach you?
And if you want to follow me personally on Instagram, @YoJason, and my email is in my bio if you want to reach out. And I always love to chop it up. You can DM me if you want to talk about work stuff, all the stuff we just talked about, but especially if you want to talk about life and anything that's been on your heart. I'm always here to chop it up.
Beautiful. Well, Jason, we had an amazing talk. This is number 2 episode, and I'm blessed to have you as a friend, and I appreciate your existence. Thank you so much.
Dude, thank you for having me. I'm grateful for you. I'm stoked that we were able to do that deep dive into life. That's literally what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. Creating Castles, episode 2. We appreciate you guys. Let's get it.
Yup.